on October the 20th in the year of our Lord 2025. Let me jump over here. Got some great information for you. I want to start off with some news update appetizers. Let's go ahead and share this.
Got some new condos built in my neighborhood. You gotta hop the curb to get in your car garage. It's pretty cool.
Do you see this? Like, there's a curb right here with no ramp to get to the actual garage. You gotta have a truck or something that can just hop over that curb to get up in the garage. Or you can't have a car. It could be like a little bike garage, a little scooter garage.
Cool. This is my favorite one yet. Look at this garage.
So how are you going to be able to get your vehicle into that garage when you got a light pole right in front? That's not.
I wonder if this is a Democrat city. I don't know.
Not a very good view. And you go upstairs in the window right there, and you got utility pole right in front. Who in the world signed off on that? Now look, I'm told that the migrants do very, very good work. They are the best, and Americans suck when it comes to work, when it comes to building things. But I'm not really sure what's going on, because when you see houses like this, I'm like, okay, what's going on with these houses? And these right here, how much are they going for? What, 500,000 or something crazy like that?
Got some new condos built in my...
When was the last time John Cusack actually starred in a movie? That's what I want to know. He had his stint, weirdly, inexplicably, as a rom-com lead back in the 90s. Who the hell decided he was going to be a Hollywood heartthrob? I have no idea. He should just be grateful for it. I mean, he's not an attractive man. There's nothing good looking about him. And yet he managed to stumble into the same kind of roles as Matthew McConaughey. Hello. And instead of just being really grateful to the country for giving him this very undeserved opportunity, he's bitter. Here he is. Watch him.
Right. The authoritarians divide and conquer, and they create an other, and then they pick on it, and then pick on the person and harass them, jail them, and that's all used as a distraction so they can steal as much as they can, maintain power, right? We all know history, so that's what he's doing, and we have masked goons roaming the streets with...
Okay, I'm sorry, I got to jump in here. I mean, all right, I pay taxes, and taxes are supposed to be used for certain things. But taxes, unless it's an NGO that the Democrats support, don't go to rich people, okay? Have you had anything stolen from you by the government? Now, I'm talking other than taxes. Now, that's a whole different story with the Democrats running the budget. It's amazing the philosophy that these leftists have. Unfreaking believable.
Hiding their faces, abducting people.
You're a storyteller. What is the story of Chicago?
Go to hell.
Is that the message from Chicago?
Yes.
Great. I'm sure a lot of people will be buying his next story. Should trademark that one ASAP, John. Get the trademark, get the copyright on there ASAP, my friend. Masked goons roaming the streets, hiding their faces, abducting people. They don't care if it's not true. They want to incentivize violence against them. When was
New York City mayoral candidate Zohran Mamdani is seen campaigning with an imam who allegedly has ties to the 1993 World Trade Center bombing. In a recent post to X, Mamdani can be seen smiling and standing next to Suraj Wahaj at the imam's Bedford-Stuyvesant mosque. Wahaj was linked to the 1993 World Trade Center bombing and has defended the attackers, calling U.S. agencies the real terrorists. Mamdani said it was a pleasure to meet Wahaj and called him one of the nation's foremost Muslim leaders and a pillar to the Bed-Stuy community. New York City mayoral candidate Zohran Mamdani is...
You gotta grab a gun!
Now you have to ask yourself one question. Do I feel lucky?
We gotta turn around the guns on this fascist system!
Ooh, you're hard showing off.
These ICE agents gotta get shot and wiped out!
No, I insist. You first.
The state machinery, that's a full display right there, has to get wiped out.
Everyone thinks they're a tough guy, they're a big shot, but they're not. Deep down inside, if you strip them down for what they truly are, they're cowards. because they manipulate and they misuse people. And only cowards do that because they're insecure themselves in their own manhood.
You gotta grab a gun.
The Merkins. That was just a fun idea that I had. There was a shoot and someone wanted to like have hair down there once, and I was like, couldn't this just be easy and have it on a thong? And so we made that happen. I had no idea that it would be
it's sold out.
A lot of reaction and would sell out in a few minutes.
Oh my God.
Is there another product you want to launch that you just so unexpected?
So there will be some things. I think it's always fun to mix it up, right?
If you ever see Mean Girls, and remember when she cuts the boobs out of the shirt and she's like, that'll get her. And then everybody's like, oh my God, she's wearing that shirt with the boobs cut out. I'm going to cut them out too. That's America. Like these people are like, oh, I'm going to wear like fake bush as an underwear because Kim Kardashian's selling them. Woo! If you bought those and you think that that's cool looking, you're an idiot. I don't know if you know this, but you can actually grow that yourself.
Right. It's an adult thing. It's like a thing that happens with adults.
It's really neat how you can do that. Yeah.
The Merkin.
Leftist protesters spending the weekend wishing death upon conservatives. But you wouldn't know it looking at the legacy media coverage describing the No Kings protests as peaceful, joyful, and as the Washington Post put it, a street carnival-like atmosphere. Oh, it's just a fair. It's a day at the fair. Watch.
Massive groups of protesters gathered in cities and towns across the country today, part of a day of so-called No Kings demonstrations protesting the Trump administration. Organizers behind the No Kings movement say it's about democracy versus dictatorship.
I think that the key takeaway from the weekend is how peaceful these were.
People were out on a Saturday because they love America. Because they love this country. They love the Constitution.
The mood here, for the most part, is playful at times. But what we haven't seen in the vast majority of these locations is even a whiff of violence.
From all the footage I could see, these were ordinary folks. They were determined to be peaceful, to carrying flags, talking about their love of the country, not their hatred of it.
Not for nothing, but that MSNBC anchors the cities says everything you need to know about why you're not watching MSNBC, right? The elitist, snob-like, then Scarborough. They're out there because they love America and they love the Constitution. Do they? Leftist protesters spending the weekend wishing death upon conservatives.
Okay, there you have it, folks. My little appetizers there for you. Okay, let's go ahead and get into the main program. Let me click on this Rumble link and show you that this is the video that you're watching here. My episode 1721, my live stream. Let's go ahead and get into this and pause this.
Demonstration.
There we go. Close out the live chat. And slide down here and click the Show More button to expand the description box out. We have information tonight from Benny Johnson, The Jimmy Dore Show, Wendy Bell, and X22 Report. But before we get into that, I do have some shout-outs to give. Face Looks just started following my channel. Judy Morgan just started following my channel. Bad Rogue 1999 just started following my channel. Kelly Orlando just started following my channel. Hubert Reese just started following my channel. And Ozel just started following my channel. So thank you very much, folks, for following my channel. I greatly appreciate that. I hope you're tuned in tonight, and I hope you enjoy the content. All righty? Thank you so much. Debbie BS reposted my episode 1720. B. Bailey 49, Debbie BS, and Kiss Knob commented on my episode 1720 from last night. So thank you very much, folks, for your comments and reposting my videos. I greatly appreciate that. Let me give you a thumbs up here. Boom. There we go. It's just that easy. It's just that easy. And I have one of those thumbs up icons right below this video. So if you slide down here and give me a thumbs up, I would greatly appreciate it. Okay, well, let's get into this. Benny Johnson, federal prosecutor, predicts John Bolton conviction and more indictments, not revenge, reckoning. Let's check this out and see what he has to say.
Next, right? So what's the purpose of hoarding and holding classified documents for John Bolton? Like, why would he need so many classified documents? 18 18 charge indictment, 18 indictments. Seems pretty serious, man. We read through the indictment earlier in the show. We'll pop it up on screen here. They're running out of space in the margins for the number of violations of U.S. code here. What do you make of this, Brett?
Benny, the deeper I dig into it, the more of a head scratcher it is. I think a lot of your viewers, they need to understand, I handled these cases both on the prosecution side and I've handled some on the defense side. And here's what happens when you are dealing with top secret. And I held top secret SCI clearance. I handled cases, where we were handling classified, very sensitive and classified top secret information. All of this information is stored in a what's called a SCIF, and a SCIF is a secured, compartmentalized room, basically, that's set aside for you to review and look at classified information. Now, when you're out in the field, like I was often, we would designate a particular room. It would have a safe. It would have locked cabinets. You would go into the room. You could not bring your cell phone into the room. You would then review all of the information. You could take notes, but those notes have to stay in the file with you. There was no exception to bringing files out. You also could not bring your notes out. You were prohibited from taking notes later after you've reviewed the classified documents if those notes were going to contain classified information. So fast forward, here we have John Bolton, who's at the tip of the spear in terms of dealing with classified sensitive information that our enemies would want, information that foreign countries would trade in and utilize to try to attack, both the country as a whole and individuals inside the country. We have John Bolton, according to the indictment, not only does he remove classified information, so a criminal act, not only does he take notes and then remove his notes from that criminal act, then he also takes notes in retrospect in the form of a diary. And then worse, Benny, and this is the one that really shocks me, he shares it with individuals that may not have any clearance, family members or individuals close to his family. That's the kind of stuff we never saw in any of the cases that I dealt with. We had individuals that brought classified information out. We had individuals that used it for their own personal gain. But I have never seen a case in which you have someone at that high level willing to take out classified information, put it on their personal server, and then share it with others, both their notes that are classified and top secret and the underlying information itself.
How do you even get this information out of the SCIF? I mean, it seems like some of it is in the form of the diary, but it also seems like he also had hard copies, according to the indictment. He had a sort of a slew of items.
Well, that's right. And Benny, in his position, he would have had an office, and in that office, he would have had the ability to review classified information because he's steeped in it every day, that position every single day. So all of it, though, has to be locked up. It can't be just left out for cleaning people to come in and look at. Yeah. But does it give him opportunity? It gives him more opportunity than even, say, myself when I was dealing with classified information, where you have a room, not your office, where you can review some of this stuff, and then you have to leave, and somebody is observing what happens when you leave. Now, in his position, there would have been individuals that would have seen him leave. And did they observe him having documents? Did they observe it on his desk? Did they observe him, individuals around him? Did he bring information? It's designated. It has a classification designation on the documents, as we've all seen. So to me, I don't know how we got here. It's one thing to be the Vice President, Joe Biden, or to be Donald Trump, and to have documents and you're capable of having them with you always. John Bolton was not the same. He was not in a position like the president's position, yes, where he could designate something classified or not. Instead, he had to physically remove these from the SCIF. He had to physically remove his notes from it. And then later, and not a lot of people are focusing on this, Benny, he was taking notes from what he recalled that was classified. And why is that significant? Well, because he was referring to these as his diary, and he would share that with other people. And then fast forward when he reported that his personal email was hacked by a foreign country. And he came forward and he said, hey, my personal email has been hacked. But what he did not reveal is that he had classified information, top secret classified information on that particular email server.
It's amazing. Dan Scavino always knows. When was this put up? What did John Bolton do with all of his yellow notepads that he always took copious notes on in the cabinet room and office, situation room, traveling abroad? Look at this. Sent in December 2nd of 2024. Approximately 10 months ago. Yeah, good question. It's like they understood what was going on here. I've been to the National Security Council. I've been to their offices. They wouldn't even let me in with my cell phone. I had to lock my cell phone away. I had to, and I went in there. It was like everything was completely walled and locked off. And you would have had to have run like an operation where you're intending on taking something. Like you had to be very intentional about taking classified documents out of there. Unlike President Trump, and I'm very glad that you talked about the difference, but if you wouldn't mind just very quickly nailing this down, President Trump, as the chief executive vested with the full executive branch of power, holds his security clearance for life and is entitled to security briefings and Secret Service for life and has plenary power to classify, declassify, hold classified documents, get classified briefings as a current sitting or former president. Is that correct, Brett?
You're absolutely right. And even more so, these were documents that while he was president, he gathered and he collected and he wanted to maintain. And did he have the right to do so? Yes, in fact, he had the right to take a document that is classified and keep that document. And the fact that he keeps that document declassifies it in essence after he leaves office. So it's a very strong authority that the president has. I mean, he single-handedly could look at a document, he could indicate that he wants so-and-so to see it, and that person could not have a security clearance, but they could see the document. It's not a formal process of declassifying a document. What it is the president gets to decide who's going to see what. I mean, he is the absolute authority in the executive branch. And so when they brought the case, we criticized it and everybody said, well, a grand jury returned the indictment on this case, so you need to respect it. Well, where are all those loud voices now? Here you have a Maryland grand jury that returned an indictment. And what you see in this indictment, and as this is the one part of the indictment that is not being highlighted, and that is the criminal law surrounding the mishandling of classified documents says it's one thing to possess it. And in fact, the penalty will be somewhat low if the only violation is the possession, if it wasn't, intended, or if it was perhaps a mistake. It's still a criminal violation. It may not amount to much prison time. The aggravation of a sentence or the increase in a sentence in this type of a case comes as a result of the intention to use the material. So here, there's a real risk that he may be facing some serious prison time because we now know that he was using it to showcase the issues he was on, whether it was to make himself look important, to later to capitalize on him, financially through a book or whatever. He was sending it to family and friends and showing that there was an aggravating circumstance surrounding his possession. So not only does it show it's very intentional that he took it, it's showing that he had a purpose for taking it.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and pause that there. I'm like 10 and a half minutes into this 17-minute video, and they're going to talk more about this. But here again, I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again. These guys like Kory and Bolton. I mean, Bolton wrote a book. He had classified information in this book. He knew that he could be in trouble. As long as he's been in the government, in politics, he knew he could get in trouble with this, particularly after he badmouthed Donald Trump, and then Donald Trump got reelected. Then, instead of laying low, and I'm going to ease down, no, he doubles down and blabs his mouth about how horrible he thinks Donald Trump is. I wonder what kind of degree of intelligence this person actually has and what business he actually had in the government with that lack of intelligence. Amazing, these leftist Democrats, deep staters, how stupid they act sometimes. Let me click on this Rumble link and show you that this video does come from Benny Johnson. I'm subscribed, following his channel. I've given him a thumbs up. I hope you do the same thing for me. Okay, let's get back here and move on to see what we have to say from the Jimmy Dore Show. Now, I'm going to mention this again. This is something that I've talked about before. Jimmy Dore is a big liberal. Not as big as he used to be after he's been lied to, and he'll go into this in this video here. But it's good to see that some liberal Democrats can be turned around. Jimmy Dore Show, perfect example of why outless Democrats suck. Or sorry, I need my glasses here. Why gutless Democrats suck. So let's go ahead and take a listen to that.
An example of why I came to hate Democrats, because I was a Democrat all my life. Until they cheated Bernie Sanders, and then they lied about everything about it. And then they lied about Russiagate. They lied about Syria. They lied about Ukraine. They lied about COVID. They lied about getting us health care. They lied about everything. They lied about Joe Biden being demented. They lied about everything. But here, watch this. Here's the gutless Democrats. This is Cory Booker, who I bet is going to run for president.
What is this soy jack face he's making? This should be a meme.
This should be. Let's listen to what he has to say, and why this is a perfect example of why people hate Democrats.
Do you think he's a war criminal, Benjamin Netanyahu?
It's a simple yes or no question. Do you think Benjamin Netanyahu is a war criminal? Let's see what he says.
Think he's a war criminal?
Again, these are questions that a lot of people think are the important litmus tests that are loaded and hot. My urgency is to be an effective leader in bringing an end to this crisis.
His urgency? It looks like Cory Booker isn't telling the story. He's just thinking now of the humiliation ritual his superiors will put him through to punish him for saying yes at the end of this clip. Let's watch.
I bet it's going to include a hot load, Jimmy.
And I get these questions all the time that, to me, undermine my urgency.
I think the thing that Democrats get so frustrated with, where we are right now, where you see like the Zoran Mamdanis and the Graham Plattners rise up, because they can go on podcasts and you can say, do you think Benjamin Netanyahu is a war criminal? And they just say yes. And that's the end of it. It's not all of the rhetoric answering. It's like what happens to Democratic politicians, they go through this like prism, and then we can't ever get like the answer to yes or no conversations like you do with Bernie and others. And that's the frustration for the Democratic base.
Do I think Netanyahu is worse than Trump? Yes.
Yeah, that wasn't the question.
I didn't ask that.
Again, won't answer the question.
Do I think he's worse than Trump? Yes. I mean, she's so gently, because it seemed to me like she genuinely is sick of that, whether she's a dumb Democrat or not. Now, she's not bright enough to put it together. The whole party's garbage, and they're doing it on purpose. But she is bright enough to try to explain to him what the issue is. And so he couldn't, like, what do you love? Oh, what do you love, Hamas? Like, he wasn't able. That's normally what they do.
I like he said it's undermining his sense of urgency and he wants to be the most efficient. So efficiency to Cory Booker means looking the other way during a Holocaust. I guess Germans called that efficient. I guess.
Yeah, that's precision.
Branko says between this and Buttigieg state getting slammed for his Gaza answer on Channel 5, Democratic politicians are getting a preview of the gauntlet they're going to have to run in 2028 if they can't break from Israel. This is exactly what's going to happen if they can't break from Israel. What's up?
Did Buttigieg just get slammed with also with hot loaded rhetoric?
Yeah. Yeah. Remember this here.
Now, did you catch that? The Democrats are going to be in trouble in 2028 if they can't break from Israel. I wonder, with that statement there and the way that the Democrats feel towards Jewish people, I wonder, I cannot imagine why so many Jewish people vote Democrat. I mean, from what I understand, like 70-80% of the Jewish people in New York City vote Democrat. And they don't give a shit who's running. Even if it's this guy that's Islamist, jihadist, whatever, running for mayor, Mamdani, they're going to vote for him because he's on the Democrat ticket. Amazing, don't you think?
Here's him being asked. Pete Buttigieg once again tries to weigh in on the Israel-Palestine conflict. Within the first minute of a 10-minute discussion, he repeats the long-debunked hoax that Hamas put babies in ovens. Let's listen.
So you have the word socialism scaring people, and it sounds like a huge thing is Israel-Palestine.
Yeah.
Where do you stand on that stuff?
Well, I'm going to put my coffee down. There's so many things that have to be said. And what I've learned is if you don't say all of them, people think you're abandoning them. Mm-hmm. So here's some things in no particular order that I know. I know that there are unspeakable horrors taking place in Gaza. I know that those unspeakable horrors are something that was unleashed by a war that started with unspeakable horrors being perpetrated by Hamas on October 7th.
No, the war did not start on October 7th. The war started in 1948 with the Nakba, the murder and ethnic cleansing of Palestinians from their own homes. That's what started the war. The war didn't start on October 7th. They're being occupied by an occupier, and according to UN, that is their civil right to oppose their occupier with violence if necessary. So if you're being occupied, which they are, no one disputes that they're being occupied, you're allowed under international law to fight back against your occupiers with violence. So I
think that's from after the Holocaust, was it not?
I'm pretty sure that came after the Holocaust. But guess what? That's not when it started. But here he comes with the bigger lie.
Well, I mean, that wasn't the beginning of the conflict.
Of course. I mean, this goes back to 47 and it goes back before 47. But this is exactly my point. Right. The moment you say...
So you lied. That's not your point. Your point was you tried to lie about the start of the war. That's what you just did. Of course you know it started with the Nakba in 48. Of course you know that. But you didn't say it. You said something that was a lie. Okay.
Anything about the moment I talk about disgust at babies.
Okay,
of course, I mean, this goes back to 47 and it goes back before 47. But this is exactly my point. Right. The moment you say anything about the moment I talk about disgust at babies being put in ovens and people being flayed by Hamas on October 7th, somebody says, well, you're not talking about the history of the Nakba and what happened with the displacement of Palestinians. And the moment I express...
So he just lied again. He already completely debunked idea that the Hamas put babies in ovens. That's a lie. So
nobody says that. They say you're lying, liar.
Yes.
And you're probably not gay.
That's Kurt's idea.
I'm all in. Look, I'm not doing research on it, Jimmy. I'm trusting the science on this one.
Here's Democrat Gavin Newsom. Zionist Democrat leader Gavin Newsom struggles to speak after podcast host brings up AIPAC. He repeats it's interesting 10 times and claims nobody has brought up the foreign influence operation in years, 4 times, while failing to say anything more when asked. Let's listen. Here we go.
Interesting. You're like the first to bring up AIPAC in years, which is interesting.
You're the first to bring up AIPAC in years, which is interesting, he says. It's interesting.
To him?
I will not vote for a candidate that takes $1 from AIPAC. It's interesting. It's interesting. I haven't thought about AIPAC.
Interesting.
And it's interesting. You're like the first to bring up AIPAC.
Wow. That's 3 interestings in like 15 seconds.
Yeah, but he said it with a gravelly voice.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
Which is interesting. Why did I say that? Not relevant to my day-to-day life. Okay. Which is just interesting. Listen, it's interesting you say that. JPAC perhaps more, but AIPAC less and less. Okay. Fair enough. Which is just interesting.
Oh my gosh.
Can you imagine?
That interesting.
You know what's interesting is you lying like that, pretending that you haven't thought about AIPAC in years. That's what's interesting. What's interesting is that you can't stop saying interesting over and over. That's very interesting and suspect.
Is it so interesting you're not going to answer the goddamn question?
It's so interesting he's not going to answer the question.
But you know what I find interesting?
What?
No hand movements in
No
this.
hand movements, right?
And look at how weird his hand is right now. That's weird too.
Right.
Well, that's just
that's interesting.
Freemasonic diamond of manifestation that he has to make contractually.
Interesting? Passive aggression isn't for him. He's not cut out to be cunning and crafty. He's designed to be a charming male escort. taking ancient divorcees to lobster dinner on their own credit card.
That it's just interesting as you bring up AIPAC that it hasn't been part of. I'm just reflecting quite openly and honestly. Hasn't been part of the day to day.
Yeah. The only reason why I ask is because with that, what I'm talking about is lobbying in and of itself.
Okay, interesting.
It really threw that guy off. His interest. He goes, "Hey, I'm going to tell you the same thing I told my best friend when he asked if I was banging his wife." That is interesting. Interesting you bring that up.
And everything that Gavin Newsom just said is aimed at roughly about 25 people in the entire country because they are the ones who pay his bills along with all our tax dollars.
Yeah, also Hollywood's there. It's quite a vector of AIPAC to propaganda pipeline.
Okay, there you have it, folks. Just to show you that, he would have kissed Gavin Newsom's ass 5 years ago before he took the COVID shot. Then he started doing a little research and found out, hey, I've been lied to. It would be nice if more Democrats and liberals would do a little research. Let me click on this Rumble link and show you that this video does come from the Jimmy Dore Show. I am following his channel. I've given him a thumbs up. I hope you do the same thing for me. Okay, let's move on. We've got some good stuff here from Wendy Bell. Let's take a listen and see what she has to say. I hope I got this set up at the right place. Here we go.
Welcome back to the Wendy Bell Radio program. All right, so I'm going to give you like the 60-second synopsis of what I think this whole No Kings nonsense is about. Basically, and the whole pushback against ICE and law enforcement. If President Trump can go into blue cities and he can do what everybody wants, irrespective of their politics, which is safety, right? At a bare minimum. Cleanliness, law and order, people who should not be there sent out, and the criminal element and the gangbangers loaded up and taken somewhere else so that you can go outside on your bicycle and not be worried about getting shot, so that you can walk to your car and not be carjacked. He will flip every single blue city red, period. That is the story. That is it. This is the last stand. This whole safety and security and illegal aliens and criminals and gangs and drugs, the reason why the left is pushing back against anything that will make it safe and viable for the people who deserve it, which would be all of us. The minute that happens, it's lights out. It's game over. There is no more voting Democrat, except for the 30% who won't be saved anyway. That's what this is all about. Playing games with you and your family's well-being so that they can hopefully stay in some semblance of power. Isn't that gross? It is. Almost as bad as finding out about this. Now, this is just one of those shocker stories because I do believe that every day President Trump is hunted. I believe there are enough crazy people out there who would absolutely, like that woman celebrating her freaking birthday and crying for her children because democracy is at stake. I just really hope that he dies and I wake up and I see his obituary tomorrow. What? Secret Service investigating possible sniper's nest with sightlined Trump Air Force One arrival near Palm Beach Airport. God, I hope and I pray for the safety and the security of the people who we've chosen to fix this country, to clean it up, to make it safe again, to make it affordable again, to make it great again. Because the darkness that's out there that has been normalized by these people on the left who honestly believe in their own self-righteous do-goodery. They believe they are the patriots. They are fighting against an evil. He's going after his political enemies. He's disappearing people on the streets. Now, if you were to stop and say, now, why are those things happening? Well, because Joe Biden was allowed to win an unwinnable election, fall asleep because he was never cognitive, and allow Barack Obama and the auto pen to, for 4 years, do whatever was necessary to ruin America. Now, you could say that to somebody on the left, but based on how far they're gone, there's not a whole lot of reasoning there. So here's your New York Post article on this. It's scary. The U.S. Secret Service is investigating what could be a sniper's nest or a hunting stand near an area where President Trump's Air Force One has recently been kept at Palm Beach International Airport. The suspicious stand, found Thursday, is in a tree and within the line of sight of the section of the airport where Trump exits the presidential jet, and was described to the Post by law enforcement sources as an odd collection of pipes. There's no ammunition, no explosives found, certainly raised the service's alarm. Authorities don't yet know whether it's a hunting stand, merely junk in a tree, or has a more nefarious purpose. The area could be used by hunters who go after invasive green iguanas, the source added. Prior to the president's return to West Palm Beach, U.S. Secret Service discovered what appeared to be an elevated hunting stand within sight line of the Air Force One landing zone, Kash Patel told Fox News. No individuals were located at the scene. The FBI has since taken the investigatory lead, flying in, and this is interesting, flying in resources to collect all evidence from the scene and deploying our cell phone analytics capabilities. So they have the ability to geolocate which cell phones have pinged in that area recently.
Well, then I wonder why they still have not found that person that planted those pipe bombs at the DNC and RNC headquarters in Washington, D.C. on January 5th and or 6th. I wonder why, because there is video of this guy talking on his intercoursing phone. So I wonder why that information hasn't been released. Who knows?
It's very interesting. Air Force One not typically kept at that section of the airport, but recent construction has pushed the plane to an area of the airfield where private planes park and about 200 yards from the mysterious hunting stand. I trust no one. I believe everything is a potential threat, and I believe that it's nefarious and purposeful. That's probably a little weirdo, but you know what? When you're hyped out, vigilant, you believe nobody, you trust nothing, and you always see this president as being in the crosshairs, then maybe you don't let something slip through the cracks. The left and the media and the Democrat leadership in Congress has portrayed President Trump as a threat, as a king, as a ruler, a dictator, as a madman almost. And it's disgusting. This is the world in which we live. The challenge now is ensuring he is safe. So the birthday girl never gets her wish. When we come back on the Wendy Bell Radio program, lots to talk about. Don't go anywhere.
Okay, let me get it past this commercial here. It's the bottom of the hour, so she'll be coming back probably about the 34, 35-minute mark.
Even big, good 10. He calls for checking. How?
Here we go.
Well, welcome back to the Wendy Bell Radio program. Did you guys hear what happened when MSNBC got caught airing old aerial footage of Boston and claiming this was Boston live at a No Kings? Look at this. Oh my gosh. It's like an ocean of humanity. People who can't stand Trump. Look at that. And people were like, why aren't the trees looking like they're changing colors? Because in Boston right now, it's peak colors, but all of your trees seem like it's very June-like. Wah, wah. Oh, whoopsies. All of a sudden, you could no longer find that video. Like, do you tell the truth about anything ever in the media? Do you realize how pathologically pathetic you are? Do you realize that the majority of common sense America, who are really no fuss kind of people, we're just normal, good people. We're not extraordinary. We just do our jobs. We tell the truth. We try to be good people, right? We pay our taxes. We love our children. We look out for neighbors, right? Not complicated. Do you understand that we look at you with pity? I feel sorry for you. You don't outrage me. Your signs that are prefabbed by George Soros funding. You don't scare me. You don't embarrass me. I feel pity for you because you went along with it. You're the people who have been vaccinated 9 times and still wear a mask and think it's for the greater good, and you're such a good person. We feel sorry for you, period. And by the way, the king argument is so hilarious. Because if we lived in a kingdom, a fiefdom, there was a monarch, there is a ruler. Rulers don't go try to make peace in other places of the world. They don't shut down the border to make your family safer. They don't try to get the criminal element that terrorizes you in the inner cities out so that you could live peacefully. And you know what kings really don't do? They don't let you protest them. It's the dumbest, hypocritical joke of a wasteful Saturday. And that is what we saw. I want you to hear President Trump on Air Force One. He's calling out basically the scam of all the protests and the signs, and he drops the line of the day. Here's the president.
Protests over the weekend, the No Kings protests.
I think it's a joke. I looked at the people. They're not representative of this country. And I looked at all the brand new signs paid for, I guess it was paid for by Soros and other radical left lunatics. It looks like it was. We're checking it out. The demonstrations were very small, very ineffective, and the people were whacked out. When you look at those people, those are not representative of the people of our country.
Mr. President, besides San Francisco...
By the way, I'm not a king. I'm not a king. I work my ass off to make our country great. That's all it is. I'm not a king at all.
Line of the day. Not a king. Kings don't work like this. Kings sit around and get fat, right? And I want you to hear some of the people street level. This woman is protesting because she does not like President Trump's policies. Yet when asked, and this is the true sign of a triggered progressive zero, they can't give you specifics. It's all emotion-based. It's how I feel. It's what I think and what I feel, not the facts. And if you're conservative and you're calm and you're like, I don't understand, can you give me an example? If you say it even as calmly as I just did, you are attacking them because they cannot defend themselves. And they will find some reason to point the finger at you, call you a name, and stomp off. You won't get me. Blah, blah, blah. Listen to this woman. She describes it or explains exactly what I mean.
Why specifically are you out supporting No Kings Day?
I think protest is important.
Why are you protesting?
How much time do you have?
A couple minutes. And what's the main reason you're out here protesting President Trump?
I agree with a lot of the decisions that are being made.
Is there any decision in particular you disagree with?
Okay, so I would start with, well.
Yes. Yes.
I don't even think it's appropriate for me to have this interview.
Well, because you don't know what the hell you're talking
because
about.
I can't. Because I don't have an idea of my own.
Folks, I go through videos, I watch videos and this and that and the other to decide what information to put together and share with you, particularly in my daily news wrap-up coming up about 9:30. But I have seen a bunch of these videos where people are being interviewed, and they really don't have any reason to be out there other than, well, everybody else is, so, why not me too? Sheep, sheep, sheep.
Swept in a wave, and it looks like a bunch of other miserable, angry people. And so I figured, what the hell, I might as well go and join them. This is where I belong. This is my new religion. Sad. Well, can you tell me, give me just one small. How much time do you have? Is a great deflection. Just give me one. Just off the top of your head. Can't do it. And then she's like, well, I don't think I should be having this conversation with you, which is a great excuse for, oh, snap, you caught me. Here we go. NBC Boston. This is unusual. They're calling out the people in the crowd. What's the main demographic we're seeing? Is this a bunch of outraged Generation Zers? Are these a pivotal new voting class of folks? The youngest voters? Are they pissed? What's going on? No, it's not them.
Are there. This is an older crowd. There's not a lot of folks, and granted, it's a big crowd here. I'm not good at estimating, but it's definitely over 2,000, maybe close to 3,000. We can't see everyone, but it's an older crowd. A lot of white hair. You see out there Q-tips, as we used to call them in the business, and they're out protesting, and not a lot of young people.
Yeah, Brock, what did they say? What was the overarching number on all of the sites that you and I were watching today for crowds?
They were saying hundreds of thousands.
Hundreds of thousands, but total across the country. You got the number?
650,000.
No. What they were reporting.
Oh, 7 million.
7 million. 7 million.
But
it is a far cry from 650,000, you guys.
They said Kamala got 70 million votes. Let's go low and say they got 5 million. You're talking about a small percentage of the people who even voted for Kamala.
100%. This liberal nutcase, these chicks, they're triggered by a man's shirt. Now, he's just standing there. And the shirt says, "For Charlie." It's a black shirt. It's white writing. And these two women literally lose their mind over it. Well, why couldn't you put on a different shirt? Why couldn't you choose a shirt that had a different message? It's literal insanity. And then she pulls off the typical liberal chick words. Here you go.
Oh, wait a minute. She's talking about free speech. This lady here, who is exercising her free speech, is jumping on somebody else for wearing a frickin' t-shirt. Oh, that's right. She's a Democrat. She's a liberal. The rules are different for them. Sorry.
The shirt that says "For Charlie."
Because I advocate for free speech, and I absolutely love
free speech. Wear a shirt that says free speech. Wear a shirt that says promote free debate. Free press.
Well, you get triggered because it has Charlie on there, right?
Because he was a racist. Because he was a misogynist, and that means that you are too. Because you support him. Get out. Get out of here!
He hated people.
Yeah, just
he hated anyone that wasn't white, who wasn't male, that wasn't straight.
They are so wrong.
He hated everyone who wasn't white, who wasn't male, who wasn't straight. Get out of here! If you wear that shirt, that means you're a misogynist too. Houston, we have a cleanup on aisle 3. Crazy! Like if this girl is your daughter. I'm just going to tell you, that's a failure. That is a huge failure. Here's a guy who's holding up a sign, very friendly, very warm, inviting, very left. It says, "Would you like to kill Nazis with me?" Yeah. And here is the exchange with a gentleman who's like, "Well, What are you talking about? Wait till you listen to the end.
Who are you gonna kill?
Nazis.
Who do you define as a Nazi?
What do you mean? It's pretty.
In this context, who's a Nazi?
Stephen Miller's a Nazi.
So you're gonna kill Stephen Miller?
If I had the chance, yeah, I would.
I don't know if that's something I'd say on camera, bro.
So you want to kill Stephen Miller? If I had a chance, I would. Aren't these the people who told us that anybody who made fun of John Fetterman during his debate performance before he became senator, when he started illustriously by saying hello and good night, that if you made fun, you were an ableist? How dare you? Don't you know he's had a stroke? And these are the people who are like, kill Stephen Miller. That's mental illness. And that is why when you find something within a couple hundred yards, a visual sight of Air Force One that's been moved from its regular landing spot to this new area because of construction, you begin to feel very uncomfortable.
She's absolutely right, folks. And, these are the people of love and togetherness and getting along, wanting to kill people, openly admitting. Now, I didn't like Joe Biden. Of course, I didn't vote for him. There's probably very few people that actually did vote for him. But you know what? I have never, ever heard any conservative, Republican, whatever, say that they wished he was not alive or they wished that they could take his life. Have you? Let me know in the comments. Let me know in the chat. I want to know if anyone watching this channel tonight has heard any conservative, Republican say that they wished that Joe Biden was not alive. Let me know. That's the difference, folks, between the Democrat deep state and the conservative people who want to make America great again. Let me jump over here and show you that this video does come from Wendy Bell Radio. Long live the king. I'm following her channel. I've given her a thumbs up. I hope you do the same thing for me. All right, let me jump back here and wrap this up with some information from X22 report. Let me go ahead and share the screen here. Just hang on 1 second. There we go. Okay. X22 report, episode 3755B. Trump sets trap for the warmongers. Election rigging is going to be exposed. Lord, I hope so. Game over. Let's check this out.
Let's get into the economic collapse, political and geopolitical news. Now, the deep state, the corrupt politicians, big tech fake news, the puppet masters, you can see that Trump now is setting the trap for the warmongers. And he's setting his sights on Ukraine and Russia. And like we said from the very, very beginning, it's not Putin that is the problem. He's using Putin because this is what the deep state players have been doing for a very long time. Russia's the enemy. Putin's the enemy. This is what we have to do. He won't stop. So Trump is using this against them. But what he's doing, he's working with Putin to shut down the war. Putin and Trump, they're already saying, let's stop the killing. Let's talk about peace. The group that doesn't want peace is Zelensky, the EU, NATO, the deep state players. So what Trump is doing right now, he's trapping them in all of this because once again, he's going to set up a peace deal with Putin and he's going to leave out the EU, leave out NATO, and they're going to say, okay.
Well, what happened? I just moved my mouse. Let me refresh this.
In the description. Putin, you're going to see how they react. Now, what most likely they're going to try to do is they're going to try to start war. Now, hopefully they do sign on to the peace deal and everything's great. Or they might sign on to the peace deal and then say, oh, look what Putin did. And they might try a false flag. No matter which way this happens, they are trapped in all of this. they will not be able to get out of this, because once again, you're going to see how Trump is going to use this all against them, because again, nobody wants nuclear war. Nobody wants to go to war. And he knows that he has the people on his side. And if they keep pushing, more people will go to Trump's side. And the people of this country, the people in Europe especially, will want peace. And if you notice, Trump continually says stopping the killing, because that is a very good talking point. Because again, when the fake news comes up to him, oh, you don't want to support Ukraine in the war? Nope, I want to stop the killing. Nobody should die. How do you argue against that? Very, very difficult to do. And think about what he did with Hamas. He used leverage to get Hamas to release the prisoners. He had to use Israel. He used Israel because Israel released a lot of prisoners from their jails, sent them back to Palestine, to Gaza. And basically, now he has removed the leverage from Hamas. And Hamas, what were they doing? They decided they were going to kill the Palestinians in Gaza because they don't want a new government. They don't want a government that they don't control. And if you notice, is the world saying, oh, look, genocide, the Hamas terrorists are now killing the Palestinians? So do you see the protest? Do you see Antifa out there protesting against Hamas? Do you hear the fake news talking about this and saying, oh, it's all Hamas? But what does this do? It allows Trump, it allows Israel to go in and remove the terrorists once and for all, because they have no support, they have no money, they have no leverage, they have nothing. And I think Trump knew from the very, very beginning that the terrorist group would not stop, because again, this is the deep state players. And at this point in time, you can see Israel now is going in and bombing certain areas. And now they can just remove Hamas with no problem whatsoever. Because I think before they were a little bit more careful because of the hostages. Now the hostages are free. Hamas has no support. They're done for. It was set this way on purpose. Now, hopefully Hamas says, okay, enough is enough. That's it. The Palestinians, they can govern. They can set up their own government. But if you really look at it, Hamas now is going after the Palestinians in Gaza because they don't want any other leaders. And you can see every step of the way, Trump and the Patriots, they are now hunting down the deep state players. You continually see more and more indictments coming out, and they're starting out with the low-level ones. Pretty much the open and shut cases here. Very, very easy. Very, very easy to convict. And I think what Trump and the Patriots are doing, they're testing the system. And they're testing the judges, of course. So for Letitia James, we have the judge, which is out of the Eastern District of Virginia, Norfolk Division. We have James Comey. That judge is from the Eastern District of Virginia in the Alexandria Division. And we have John Bolton, and he is assigned to a Maryland judge in the Greenbelt Division. So this is going to be very, very interesting moving forward. Plus, we do have additional indictments most likely coming. I wouldn't be surprised if Adam Schiff is coming next. And maybe we see Brennan or other people or Jack Smith. So they're going to test other judges, and they're going to see how this all plays out. And remember, these are the lower level crimes. These are open and shut cases. They're not that difficult because they're the ones who actually filled out the documents. They lied to Congress. They leaked information. So I do believe that these are pretty easy, and they're testing the waters right now. And you can see already James Comey and his lawyers, they're already going after the attorney that brought the charges, Lindsay Halligan, and they're trying to say that, oh, her appointment, it was unconstitutional. So they're already.
Dang, I wonder what's causing that to just kind of freak out like that. Let me refresh it again.
We've got Trump in fiscal years ensuring that the fake news, they're all done. And actually, people are going to wake up like you've never seen before. But before we get to all of that, let's start with what is happening with the fake news once again. because the fake news is out there trying to convince people that FEMA is now forcing disaster-struck towns to fend for themselves. Well, this was back during the Biden/Obama administration, where they didn't want to help the Trump supporters. But again, the New York Times, they're putting out a fake headline here, and Homeland Security corrected them and said, not a surprise, the New York Times is hell-bent on lying, misleading, and obfuscating the truth. This so-called journalist deliberately misrepresents and lies to the American people about critical disaster resource available to them. The truth, disaster relief funds do not expire. Funds flow swiftly to support Americans through annual and supplemental appropriations. These funds carry over across fiscal years, ensuring flexibility for immediate and long-term disaster recovery. No funds are held back or canceled. They are seamlessly integrated into the next fiscal year. Trump and Secretary Noem are delivering life-saving aid to Americans at historic pace. Absolutely. Compared to what Biden and Obama have done, they didn't do this. They held those funds, the people from FEMA, back when certain areas were hit. And I think everyone saw that back then. And it was actually shown that they didn't want to help those people that supported Trump. And they did it on purpose. Remember, D.C., that's the swamp. Trump now is draining the swamp. And actually, he's going to accelerate the draining. And actually, if you look at the shutdown right now, this is going to be one of the longest shutdowns we ever seen. I think Trump wants to get to the 60-day mark. So all these people, they're completely let go with no pay whatsoever, and they're going to have to go find different jobs. Most of these people are not needed. This is part of the deep state central bank's plan, is to bloat the government so much that it's very, very difficult to remove these people because it's so big, so bloated that even if you get rid of a couple of people, it wouldn't make a difference. This is why Trump really has to go and cut out all these people and remove all these agencies. And it's a lot of people. And I do believe he's using the shutdown to do this. We'll be talking a little bit more about that a little bit later. But first, we could see that the deep state players, they're doing whatever they possibly can to stop Trump from removing the illegals from this country. Because again, without the illegals, they have nothing. They'll never win another election. They can't push chaos. They can't say, hey, look, there's crime in the cities, so we need more money. This is why they keep crime in the cities, because it's a great way to say, listen, you want us to fight crime? We need more money. You want us to fight crime? We need more money. They're never getting rid of the crime. They're just laundering the money. They use it to get the money, just like Newscomb uses the forest fires to get the money. Just like he used the high-speed train to get the money. They're never going to finish the product. They're never going to solve the problems. They just use these problems to get more and more money to launder it. That's what they do. And you can see how they're infiltrating this country with the illegals. The illegals now, in certain areas, they are actually police officers. So wait a minute, someone who came into this country is a police officer who is now enforcing the law on a citizen of this country. Homeland Security put this out and said, Governor Pritzker doesn't just allow illegal aliens to terrorize Illinois communities. He allows them to work as sworn police officers. Radul Bojovic overstayed a B-2 tourist visa that required him to depart the U.S. on March 31st, 2015. Over a decade later, he was still illegally in the U.S. working as a police officer for the Hanover Park Police Department, earning a salary of $78,955. Criminal illegal aliens have no place in our communities, especially on our police forces. And this is what they wanted to do in Oregon. This is what they wanted to do in California. Think about what they're trying to do here. And now it's all being shut down. And the American people are behind this. George put this out and said 175,000 Americans have applied for a job at ICE. Think about that for a second. Think about how many people want to assist in getting rid of the illegals in this country. This is what the people of this country voted for. And the majority was able to override the rigging system that the deep state used to get their candidate in place. And there was so many people that they couldn't even cheat in the election because people would question it. That's how lopsided it would have been. So that should tell you everything you need to know. Stephen Miller put this out and said, imagine arguing that the founding fathers wanted us to mass import foreigners who hate us, hate our civilization, and celebrate the murder of our heroes. Imagine arguing that the Constitution requires us to limitlessly admit those who want to burn our system to ash. Imagine arguing that the prior generations who shed their blood to secure America for their posterity actually shed their blood for the right of foreign nationals to come here and revile their own descendants. Imagine. Absolutely correct. I mean, right now, the founding fathers are probably turning over their grave saying, what did you do to our country? We gave you freedom. We gave you the Constitution. And you let this...
Okay, I'm going to back this up just a second here, folks, because look at this response. No foreigner has the right to travel to America for any purpose. No, they don't have the right. Now, they can apply for a visa to come in here, like that one officer did, police officer, alien, illegal alien, that applied for a guest visa and then just stayed, didn't go back home. But no foreigner has the right to travel to America. You have to request a visa. If you come in here illegally, now, you know, when Joe Biden, anybody could come in. So there you have that.
Tyrannical regime take over, and you allow them to bloat the government. You allowed a central bank to come in. You allowed all this on your watch. How did you let this happen? Because we were asleep at the wheel, but no more. We can never, ever allow this to happen again. And look what it took to wake the American people up.
And a lot
it took an outsider. It took an outsider to formulate a plan to have the deep state players install someone in the White House so people could actually see how they were going to destroy America. Because Trump couldn't explain it to the American people. He actually had to show you every step of the way. And that's exactly what he did. And actually, he actually told us this is what he was going to do. Take a listen.
I flew in with some of our great congressmen who were going to, and I said to him, then I said to him, Congressman, what do you think? Can you straighten it out fast? Can we just go in? Can we just go in? Let it simmer for a little while. Let it simmer for a little while. Let people see what left radical left will do to our country.
So he told us this was the plan from the very, very beginning. So the only way to wake people up is to actually show them. It's almost like a child says, you know, don't touch the hot stove. I don't believe you. That can't be hot. Well, when they touch it, they understand, yeah, the stove gets hot. Then they know. You know what? I'm not going to touch that again because I got burned the last time. And that's exactly what's happening right now. And that's why the plan is taking a little bit longer than everyone wanted. Because, again, we were so brainwashed. The American people were so brainwashed that it took this time to snap people out of it.
And unfortunately, a lot of people are still not snapped out of it. I gave you an example of Jimmy Dore. Big liberal, big Democrat. Not anymore. Now, I don't know if he voted for Trump. I don't know if he'll ever vote for a Republican, but he won't vote for a Democrat, which is a vote for a Republican. Now, you know, people might wonder how that can be. If you've got 10 Democrats and 10 Republicans, okay, the vote's 10 for Kamala, 10 for Trump. If you got one Democrat that says, I'm not voting Democrat anymore, I'm going to be voting for whoever independent, that means 9 votes for Democrats and 10 votes for Republicans. Now, if you happen to be lucky enough to switch one of those Democrats to Republicans, that's like 2 votes. So if you've got 10 people, 10 Democrats, 10 Republicans, and one of the Democrats decide to go Republican, that means 9 Republican votes and 9 Democrat votes and 11 Republican votes. So then the Republican wins by 2. So every person that comes over from the Democrat side to the Republican side is like 2 votes for the Republicans. So, folks, you might want to talk to some of your friends and just try to explain things to them share these videos that I have because they provide no nonsense, common sense, logic, and truth. Whether they'll listen to it or not, that's another story. But it doesn't hurt to try to share this information with your friends, contacts, and family members. Let me jump over here, click the Rumble link, and show you that this video does come from X22 Report. I'm following his channel. I've given him a thumbs up. I hope you do the same thing for me. I'm like 17 and a half minutes into this hour and 3-minute video, so there's a lot more information in here. And coming back here to the description box, I have all the videos that I shared with you, the links to them here in the description box, and the links to the channels for these videos right here in the description box. And these videos that I've shared with you tonight in this video are videos that I've posted on Murtech.com. Okay, right down here is the video from Wendy Bell. Right here's the video from X22 Report. Okay, right here's the video from Jimmy Dore that I shared with you. Oh, right there, Jimmy Dore. Okay, so I have over 55, like I said, no nonsense, common sense, logic, and truth videos here at Murtech.com, and the link is in the description box. Now, I don't have time to share all this information with you, but I do have my daily news wrap-up coming up here about 9:30, where I have over 65 videos in my playlist right now. I'm going to go back and update the playlist, get my video set up in Rumble Studio. So go ahead and take a break, grab a cup of coffee and a donut, or a sandwich and a soft drink or a beer, and meet me back here at 9:30, and I'll share all the information that I've put together that's dropped all day long. Great information. With that, I do want to thank you for spending your time with me this evening. Hopefully, I'll get to see you again later, and may God bless.